The psychology of why you clean your room instead of studying. You didn't clean your room because it was dirty. You cleaned it because your brain was scared. And the strangest part, your brain knew exactly what it was doing. It found you the most convincing excuse possible. One that looked productive. One that felt responsible. One that nobody, not even you, could argue with. This video is about that one moment and why it happens more than you think. By the end of this video, you're going to understand something most students never figure out. Not why you procrastinate, you already know that, but why your brain specifically chooses productive looking tasks when it wants to avoid the real one. Why it picks cleaning over sitting and doing nothing. Why it picks organizing your notes over actually opening them. Why it picks every sensible, reasonable, responsible task in the world except the one thing that actually matters right now. And once you understand the mechanism behind this, really understand it, you will never look at a clean room the same way again. This is not about motivation, this is not about discipline. This is about how your brain handles threat. Stay with me. Most students explain this to themselves the same way. I wasn't in the mood. I needed to clear my head first. I work better in a tidy space. And none of these are lies. Every one of those statements feels completely true in that moment. That is exactly what makes this so difficult to see clearly. Because your brain is not giving you false information. It is giving you selectively true information. Yes, a tidy space does help you focus. Clearing your head before working is a real technique. Mood affects performances. All of that is accurate. But here is what your brain leaves out of that conversation. The room did not need cleaning right now. The head did not need clearing right now. The mood would not improve by cleaning. Your brain handed you a true fact and used it to move you away from something it found threatening. That is not laziness, that is intelligence working against you. Here's where it gets interesting. The tasks you choose when you avoid studying are almost never genuinely pointless. You don't sit and stare at the wall. You don't scroll mindlessly. At least not at first. You clean, you organize, you plan, you sort, and you prepare. Every task feels justified. And that justification, that is the trap. Because as long as what you're doing looks productive, your brain doesn't register it as avoidance. And you can't fight something you don't recognize. Now let's go deeper. Because the real mechanism is not about distraction. It is about threat. When you sit down to study something important, something that carries real consequences, your brain does not simply access the task, it accesses the risk. And a high stakes risk with a real deadline, with real consequences for failure, triggers something in your brain called a threat response. Not a dramatic one, not panic. A quiet one, an unease. A low level signal that says the situation could go badly. And your brain, which is built to protect you, immediately looks for a way to reduce that signal. The fastest way to reduce it? Move away from the threat. But here is the critical part. Your brain is also smart enough to know that doing nothing, scrolling, napping, or watching something will make you feel guilty. And guilt is also a threat signal. So it finds the perfect solution, a task that moves you away from the threatening thing. but looks productive enough to silence the guilt. Cleaning your room is perfect. It is genuinely useful. It produces a visible result. It gives you a small hit of accomplishment. Your brain releases a small amount of dopamine when the room is tidy, and it requires just enough focus to stop you thinking about the paper. Psychologists call this displacement behavior. Your brain takes the energy that was building around the threatening task and channels it into a safer one. Not because you are weak, because you are human. Every student who has ever existed has done a version of this. The form changes. Some students recognize their notes. Some rewrite their timetable. Some make elaborate color-coded revision plans they never follow. Some clean, but the mechanism is identical. Most students miss this next part. The more capable you are, the more convincing your displacement behavior becomes. Because a capable student doesn't reach for something obviously pointless. They reach for something that genuinely needed doing eventually. Something they can fully defend. The student who avoids studying by watching television knows they are avoiding. The student who avoids studying by recognizing their entire study system, they can convince themselves and everyone around them that they are being productive. That is the most dangerous version. Here is the part most students never reach. The room is not the problem. The task is not the problem. The threat response is not even the problem. The problem is what your brain believes will happen if you sit down, open the document, and it turns out you cannot do it. That is the real fear, not failure. The possibility of failure, there is a difference. Failure is an outcome. It happens or it doesn't. The possibility of failure is a story your brain tells before anything has happened. And your brain, trying to protect you, would rather you never test the story. Because as long as you don't open the document, you haven't failed. The room is clean, the notes are organized, the timetable is perfect. You are ready to study. Just not yet. And just not yet is the most comfortable place a threatened brain can live. Here is why this matters. When you understand that the cleaning is not about the room, when you see that it is your brain managing a fear it hasn't named, something shifts. You stop fighting the behavior. You start asking a different question. Not, why can't I just sit down and study? But, what exactly am I afraid that will happen if I try? That question is harder. It doesn't have a clean answer. But, it is the right question. Because displacement behavior only works when it goes unexamined. The most of the moment you name what you are actually avoiding, the moment you say out loud or in writing, I'm not cleaning because the room is dirty. I'm cleaning because I'm scared this work will prove something about me. The displacement loses most of its power. Not all of it, most of it. The brain doesn't stop generating threat signals, but you stop obeying them automatically. And that pause between the signal and the response is where everything changes. Here is what I want you to remember from this. A clean room at the cost of an unwritten paper is not productivity. It is fear organized neatly. The students who consistently do the hard thing first are not more disciplined than you. They are not less afraid. They are simply learned to recognize the signal for what it is and to act before their brain finds a convincing reason not to. You're not lazy, you're not broken. You're a person whose brain is doing exactly what it was built to protect you from perceived threat. The work is not to fight that. The work is to see it clearly every time and then open the document anyway. If this feels like you, that is not a coincidence. This channel exists for the student who is self aware enough to ask why and serious enough to want a real answer. Not a tip, not a hack. An understanding because students who understand what is happening inside them make better decisions than students who are simply told what to do. If you want to keep building that understanding, subscribe to Lumina. This is where it lives. And in the next episode, we are going to talk about something that connects directly to today. Why the students who seem the most confident in class are often the ones experiencing the most doubts in private, and what that pattern reveals about how intelligence and insecurity are more connected than anyone tells you. That one is coming next. Don't miss it.